I think we should be live on YouTube. Just
Hello,
connecting up.
everybody.
And I think we should be live on YouTube. There we go.
Okay.
And welcome to Spiritual Sundays.
Yeah, Courses for Spirit.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jeremy.
Today's topic's probably one that our culture doesn't really like to think about very much. But for me, I think it's one that it's a subject area that I think we can benefit a lot from having informed conversations around.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce it, Jeremy?
Sure. Life and death of the body. So, I feel deeply and seem to gravitate towards the soul of the soul being. Having had the opportunity to walk beside many on their journeys home, it would be enlightening to have a better understanding of the souls who have left, where they're at, how is the journey unfolding, and do they have any words of wisdom on their or wishes? So the curiosity at end of life or even after life feels natural. So it's struggle to understand why some of us struggle with the flesh and are in constant loop of fear-based or manufactured realities. So how can one be of service while remaining grounded amongst the chaos? Enjoy the day.
Oh, who's that from?
That's from someone by the name of Crystal.
Oh, okay. Is that through the YouTube channel or the?
Yeah, sent me a message.
Right. Oh God. Oh, where'd you start with a
It's
question like that?
life and death of the body.
Well, it's a very sensitive subject, isn't it? You don't want to just jump in with absolutes and platitudes because yes, we are spiritual beings, and it's my experience and my belief. So both my belief and my experience and the way I look at the world is that the death of the body is a transition because life is eternal and reincarnation is the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean to say we're not attached to our bodies and we're not incredibly sad when people and animals and plants or even objects that we love are no longer can no longer function and are put aside, buried, or even the car going to the junkyard's enough to get me crying because we're attached and we have genuine emotions for each other. So I guess the first thing I'd say about it is, I mean, maybe some people would be so established in their identity as a spirit soul that that it wouldn't be any kind of a big issue for them to whether they're in their bodies or not in their bodies. But for me, and for many advanced souls, if someone goes away from us who we love, then we miss them.
yeah. But what sort of things would you miss?
Well,
Like
about
their physical presence?
well, yeah. I mean, maybe a practical thing is with my dog. I miss her company and the smell of her paws because her paws always kind of smelt like digestive biscuits, and
Yeah.
soppy look on her face and her physical presence. I miss that tremendously, and I miss my mother. I'd love to be able to sit with my mum and drink a cup of tea and have a Kit Kat. One too many Kit Kats because she was always very generous with their chocolate biscuits for anybody who's not in the UK. And
Yeah,
watch telly with her and just kind of just be around her. So a physical
yeah,
presence, the interaction, the physical interaction, the eye contact, the physicality of it.
yeah.
What about you in that case?
Um, for me, I mean, I do miss like my grandmother. Um, I miss phone calls. When I lived in the UK, we had phone calls every week. I'd call her every week, and just to hear her advice. And once in a while, um, uh, I do get little hints of her advice, like she was making a phone call to me, and so that's quite fun. So yeah, that's what I miss in the physical. But yeah, there's the smell. There's a sense of smell. There's all kinds of the physical sensations, right? When we're sharing with people physically, and yeah. So I mean, I've had the opportunity to be with people while they've passed away, like quite a few different people, and so I firmly believe that there's that somebody goes somewhere after, that they leave the body. They leave the body in different ways, but they actually, their personality, their energy, whatever, what have you, or whatever, their energy source, um, it goes somewhere, and it goes on the journey in different ways. That was my experience with being with lots of clients who have passed away.
Mason, we were just responding to a message that's come in to Jeremy asking about our relationship with our physical body and life and death. And, just we're generally talking around maybe a spiritual view of life and death. I don't know. Jeremy, is that right?
Yeah, having had the opportunity to walk beside many on their journeys home, it'd be lightening it to have a better understanding of how is the journey unfolding, or wait, better understanding of the souls who have left, where they're at, how their journey is unfolding. Do they have any words of wisdom and wishes? Yeah, like there are ways supposedly of communicating with people that have passed on. There's one way that's intuitive, where basically just um, where there'll be a symbol or something that arrives that makes you think about that person, which can be like a butterfly or a bird or a bug or something, maybe a cool breeze. And for some reason, that person, they, it happens, and then you think of them instantly. That's one way to tell that it comes from that person. Yeah.
Yeah, people often say robins, don't they? Well, I know I often see a robin. When I see a robin, I always think of my mother. I think that's a bird that a lot of people think of as a messenger. Um, yeah. Well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? Because I don't know. I don't have experience of remembered experience of where I think the questioner was asking, where do people go? What's the condition there? What happens to people? How do you understand it? And there's so many different ways of understanding it. I don't know. What would be a good place to start on that part of the question?
Well, I mean, I know that according to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, there's several different ways that people can go um, when they're dying. When we die, it actually gives out a whole path of what to do when we die. It gives a whole path to different areas on how we can reincarnate. It can give. Um, there's also the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which I've also read and had a chance to see it in London in the flesh, the
Oh,
actual real papyrus um, drawings of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and that basically says that basically there's different stages, but then we go up to space, and then there's different solar systems, and there's areas where we'll be caught by these kind of um, these kind of beings that will catch us with nets and then bring us back to Earth.
oh,
Yeah,
netted.
yeah, and so they have tricks of the trade on how to avoid the nets and how to not get caught by the
How,
nets.
how do you do that?
Their strategy was to, if you notice them all at the same time. So if you notice all of the nets at the same time, then they lose their power. Yeah.
So that makes me think those nets are metaphors for attitudes or beliefs or propensities that can
Yeah.
keep bringing you back into. I don't know. Some people think of the earth as a place where we come to learn and grow and develop in wisdom and experience. So maybe there's something about those nets being our unlearned lessons bringing us back to earth over and over again.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just a big thing. It's a very big thing to, it's a big change in mindset to go from what I would say for a Westerner is a fairly traditional view, materialist view would be that you live one lifetime
Yeah.
and that your consciousness is in your brain, and when you die, that is it. That's it. That would you done. So you get your kind of 70, 80, 90, 100 years, and that is it.
Yeah.
And that's often seen as a rational, common sense kind of view. And I can't resonate with that anymore. But I mean, it was the perceived reality handed to me, but it just doesn't make any sense to me based on my experience of the world.
Yeah.
It feels like I was handed that lesson as well, like I was taught that as well, and I never thought about it deeply for years and years. And now my life experiences, plus just thinking about that and trying to dig into that a little, like one layer deeper, I feel like nothing's further from the truth. Like I find that hard to believe that maybe it's one go at it and it's maybe we don't, yeah. Just the way it was told to me. Just what you said, Mike. I don't believe that either.
Yeah. And another thing that I've actually been seeing quite recently is where people on YouTube, where people have been talking about near-death experience, saying, "Oh my God, I do not want this to be true," because with near-death experiences, when somebody dies, crosses over. goes into wherever it goes. We should talk about all the different ideas about where people go to. And somehow there's a message that says, you've got a choice. This isn't actually your time. You're going to go back to your body and you're going to tell people about the experience that you've had through this near death experience. And they come back and they talk about things that are quite often, there's a pattern to what's shared. But what I thought was interesting is the amount of comments of people saying, "Oh my God, no, please! I don't want to have to live this life over and over and over again. I don't want reincarnation to be true because I'm having an awful time now." I remember that viewpoint. I remember that.
I remember that viewpoint so well, like myself. And I even told a friend of mine, I said, "Oh, I don't want to come back as this, and I don't want to have to do this type of pain again." He looked at me and he wasn't invested in that. And he said, "Well, it's a valid existence if you come back and do that." And ever since then, I've been thinking it's never actually really what we want, right? The whole like, oh, I don't want to live this life or I want to have this kind of life. It's never even, sometimes it's not like about those type of desires. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's not what we want. There's like nature has a flow, God has a plan, destiny's real. Like it's, you know, I just feel like it's yeah, I don't know. That just comes from a place that's not true or something.
So where do Jeremy? Where do you? What I mean? What's your experience of the non-physical worlds? Where do you think people go when they pass out their bodies? I think that was one of the questions that was being asked, isn't it? I think. Am I right?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, I know that some people, in my experience, there's different ways that people go. There's some people they look up and they're like beamed out. They like leave on a beam. Like they look up and then they're out. Um, Another way is that people they're there and then they disappear and I don't know where they go. So it's like they go into a portal or something. They're like poof, there's a space that I'm not sure where they went. And then there's another group that leave their body and they float around their body for quite some time. And then they float around and they float around and they float further and further and then they go on a journey wherever. Those are the three main ways that people go that I know of.
Is one better than another in terms of? I mean, why are there different ways?
I think it depends on the person, where they're at with their consciousness, where they're at with their awareness, and and maybe a soul contract that they have or something. I'm not sure.
What's you maybe better explain soul contract? What do you mean by that?
Maybe they have somewhere they need to go or somewhere they need to get to, and the fastest way is beaming there. And maybe people that float around, they're very aware of their surroundings and they maybe feel something in the room that catches their attention, that keeps them there.
Okay, so it's kind of it's an individual thing.
Yeah,
Like it's going to be different for everybody.
yeah.
I've got. I mean, it's a really. I've got a couple of books that deal with this kind of area which are useful for anybody who's interested in it. So, Testimony of Light, whose author I cannot remember right now, and I don't think it's on my desk. But Testimony of Light is a very nice book. It's written by a Catholic nun who agreed with it, was very close to a journalist when she was alive, and she was the head of a teaching organization for nuns. And what she said she would do is keep contact with her journalist friend after she died, after she passed out of her body, because they had quite a very close link. And so the journalist focused on that and tried to make sure it happened, and did start to get these feelings to write things, and she felt like she was being communicated with. And then the nun, ex-nun, she was able to send detailed descriptions of what happens after you die from her perspective. So it's a fascinating book. It's called Testimony of Light. And basically what she's saying in there, which does tally with some of the stuff that we've learned from the Hindu tradition, is saying when you leave your body, you become energy. You're just the energy body. And then you go into the astral world, and depending on your state of consciousness, not whether you've been good or bad, but your state of consciousness, you then, in the astral world, you create your own environment, which if you've been attempting to be loving and forgiving and kind, is going to be more of a loving, forgiving and kind environment. And if you've practiced a lot of separation, like I'm better than everybody else, greed and manipulation, then it's an environment that's full of greed and manipulation. But you're not protected from it. You have to experience it, and so you can understand how your life on earth has impacted other people. Because you're just learning from that, so you're not actually being punished. That's it in a nutshell from that book.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, you're not really being punished. It's more just repeat of whatever is in your consciousness, whatever is in your general daily life, and then that repeats itself.
Yeah, because I think there's some relief in that as well, because people are worried about, and if you, and I think also if you are on you're on your in your last few hours or days on earth, and you kind of become aware of some of the things that you wanted things that you wish you'd done differently, you wanted to you would ask forgiveness for, then it's never too late, really. I think that's the thing, is it's never too late. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really simple in one way, isn't it? Is that we're learning to be collaborative, cooperative, to care for one another, at least to refrain from judging each other and harming each other and thinking bad about each other. And we're trying not we're trying to be more kind of compassionate towards ourselves. And those are the kind of things that you can get concerned with while you're on the planet, which stand you in good stead, whether this stuff is true or not. I think it's just good to be practical about it.
Yeah, it's true. Mason, I was wondering what was your experience around your dad passing,
Um,
if you're comfortable talking about it.
oh no, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, I think about these things every day. I'm okay talking about it, and I think about this stuff a lot actually. Um, and my thought about, is there life after death, or what happens next? I think I think about that a lot also because I have this desire to be close with my father again. I have this desire to see him again. So in this quest for, is there another world or a place or something where we go? So I'm kind of like looking for hope to see him and like all my loved ones again. I really try to, I love asking people what they think of what happens next. And then I found some of these near-death experience videos, and they were explaining some ideas that really resonated with me. And when people have this common story, I find it resonates with me a little bit more than when we were talking earlier, Mike, about, oh, it's just you got one life and it's kind of like before you were born, after this, it's nothing. Like it just doesn't have that resonance in my body. Um, but yeah, I try to I try to keep the relationship with my father, who has passed 3 years ago now. I try to keep that relationship alive by thinking about him and talking about him just like this. So when somebody asks, I try to talk about him. And that kind of why I do that, like I said, is to help discover some hope that I could see him again. But it really helps with this grief, and it helps with the practical, heavy, everyday, real sadness.
Yeah,
And yeah, so yeah, even in this moment, if I were to sit and really think about how his body is not here and how we won't be able to go to our favorite restaurant, and just kind of not being able to show him everything I'm doing right now, that the
yeah,
more I think about that, that could really get so sad, and it almost becomes overwhelmingly sad. And
yeah,
when I think about, well, maybe he's transcended this place, and his soul is in a place where there is no time, and he can see things that I can't, and maybe he's just waiting for me. That kind of really counterbalances that sadness and that grief. And yeah, that I think about
yeah,
it a lot. I mean, yeah, I think about it a lot for sure.
yeah. He's in a timeless dimension where he can oversee things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and a common a common thread I hear in the near-death experience stories, or um, some people do psychedelic journaling, and you could read about their stories online. And yeah, you just hear about these common threads, like, oh, I was in this place, and I looked like my younger self. I didn't have any ailments or wrinkles or sickness, and you know, um, I've heard that described in a few different ways from a few different spiritual takes or religious takes. Excuse me. And so I try to, when I imagine that, like, oh, do we go to some etherical place where maybe we're made of light, or like our energy doesn't get touched? That feels fun, and that feels it it has a feeling when I think about that. It feels exciting. Um, and when I think about, oh, well, maybe nothing happens, and then there's this atheist point of view that I was handed that never really served me, like thinking about that doesn't feel like anything or even good. So I kind of just follow the feeling, right? When you're saying, how can we be practical about it, Mike, or where do we start? I just like, well, I need help with the grief of my dad or the grief of anyone that I've lost. So how do I use my feelings to like make sense of this thing that I don't know what it is? Like no one really knows what happens after death. I haven't found it in the spiritual texts. All I can do is like discover, like what you and I, the three of us, are doing, is have these discussions that maybe gets an idea through.
yeah. I know with deep meditation, we can know more about where we go after. There's a certain stage of meditation, just called nirvikalpa. It's samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, and at that point, then we know where everybody goes. And so with deep meditation, that's a way that we can open up ourselves to knowing more about that.
There's another.
That
Oh, go on. Sorry.
that just sounds interesting, Jeremy. That when you say that, it gives me this feeling, right? And that feeling
Yeah,
I have inside of hope or something, it's
yeah,
if I meditate on that, it's like I picture meditation as like this tunnel to a different place. And like that other place calls through that tunnel. And that it's like your loved ones or God or spirit saying, like, sit and listen and like come this way. And like meditation is like going that way. And so when you say
yeah,
that, like it makes me think of that. And that gives me hope about, oh, it's there's something, right? There's gotta be something. Like I feel it. I'm imagining that. That's kind of coming to me. So yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot in there. It's cool. And you never know where you're going to find it, right? Like that visual of a portal, my consciousness could go to another place of happiness and non-grief. Like I find that in this discussion with you in just these surprisingly candid moments. So I can't beat that. Just love that.
Yeah. And sorry, Mike, what were you saying?
It's gone. I don't know what it was. It might come
Sorry.
back. No, no, that's okay. I think it couldn't have been so incredibly important, but it will. I'm sure it'll circle back. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the questioner and what kind of support is the questioner looking for?
What kind of
Oh,
support? Sorry.
Yeah, when through the question that they've sent in, maybe it's just to have a conversation because these are kind of conversations that are quite hard to have, I think.
I think they're hard to have. Yeah.
Often people, or myself, you don't know what to say in the face of someone's grief.
And these conversations are hard to have because even the first thing I said on this podcast was, when we are doing this was, oh, the desire to not want to come and relive this life comes from like not a true place. And I was so fumbly with my words there. And because I don't, it's like we don't always talk about these things. So, uh, trying to put the words to these ideas can be tricky. If I rethink it, it's like when we let me just try to like actually rethink it. When you um like if you saw this life as an opportunity to like polish your soul and you could see the benefit of struggle and overcoming the struggle to like grow and evolve past your comfort zone, maybe that perspective shift
Hmm.
allows you to like accept reincarnation more, and like maybe reincarnation in another human life, and that's like God's plan. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what's going to happen whether you like it or not. And whatever you resist will persist. So whether you have 100 more human lives or one more, like maybe there's, I don't know, if you just that. But and it's still hard to even finish my idea because I don't even know. It's still hard to like conceptualize this thing. But someone asked a question and they're talking about grief. I'm remembering that, but I'm going off on this tangent. I'm not making sense about it. But someone asked a question, a support question. Is that did I miss it when I first came in?
Yeah, I put it in our WhatsApp chat. But it's also how can one be of service while remaining grounded amongst the chaos?
Oh, well, just by being grounded amongst the chaos. That's what I would say. Is if you can be present and you can come to the present moment and you can take pleasure in the beauty of a flower, for instance, or a pine tree, or a view, or like a skyline or something, and you can come into the present moment, that's hugely valuable
Yeah.
because there's, because we do live in times when we're often very, very distracted. I saw the most crazy thing. Well, not crazy. I saw something that was kind of well, it was just a thing. A particularly well-known right-wing, very someone who's famously disrespectful of women. He posted on. Um, there's no point in naming people because I think it's not very compassionate. But he was talking about how he said, right, I don't read books. I haven't got time to read words on a page or on a screen. I've got time. I'm That's for slow people. I'm drinking champagne. I'm traveling on jets. I'm I'm making love with. I'm having sex with women. He's somebody who does martial arts. I'm fighting. I'm grabbing life. I'm living life. I don't have time for anything else. And you think, oh my goodness me, that's so sad to be in a situation like that, where you've set up pleasure as this thing that you have to chase. And the way that you get pleasure is by having a jet or champagne or something like that. So just coming back to the answer to the question is, if you can be here and you can be in the moment and content and happy looking at a sunset and breathing and just being in your body, what a massive gift that is to a world when you've got people who are kind of so confused that they're actually presenting their need for the high life as something that's sane.
Yeah. And often when people are in that stage, that only lasts for a time, right?
Yeah, that's a very variable. I mean, who knows? You can't generalize, but yeah, generally, we are generalizing. Sorry. Yes, you can. You can't. We can't sort of talk about knowing everything about this subject. Yeah, but you're right. I can talk about my own experiences. My own experience of living like that and thinking and feeling like that was it had a time span,
Yeah.
and thankfully,
Like
it's it's
having
having.
str- having having strong desire or finding happiness and those type of things. Is that what you're saying? Like relative to that?
Well, you've got to, the idea that you've got to be extraordinary, you've got to be special, you've got to achieve, you've got to be admired by people, you've got to be consuming, you've got to be grab sucking all the juice out of life. That's pretty difficult to live like that. But like Jeremy's saying, it will last for a period of time and then eventually it will stop for each individual. And I guess when it stopped for each individual, that means it'll have stopped for humanity and we'll have moved on to something collectively, something more in line with the with sustainability, peace, abundance, connection, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like to think we're evolving that way, getting that way slowly. Uh, the human race. I wonder if those phases in our life where like yeah, you want you thought you found happiness, external things, like you're talking about that, and then you realize you simplify and that's not how you want to live. Um, maybe you practice finding happiness or peace more internally in different areas of life. I think maybe when you do that, that's like going through a layer of some kind. Maybe it's like going through some kind of a layer. And yeah, maybe your soul or something has so many layers to go through before it leaves Earth and transcends. So, like Jeremy said, maybe it's only for a period of time. Maybe for someone it's a period of time of 5 years, and maybe for someone it's a period of time of like 55 years. And I still think in the grand scheme of eternity, or our souls are infinite, or the glory of heaven, if that's a real place. I mean, another lifetime or 1,000 is still insignificant to the powers that be. And then maybe that's just what we got to do. I don't know. That's sure. That's one way that I think about it. Also, does that resonate with you guys at all, or not
Well, yeah,
so much?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Although, I
Yeah.
mean, I would say we have to be. We don't have to be anything. To an individual, uh, one's own lifetime is highly significant.
yeah. And that's the thing too. The perspective, right? Like it's super significant. I mean, and some people could have perspective shifts, and I like you never know what's valid or what's not, or what it means to them. Like, oh, my life is so significant. I'm a celebrity, or I'm on a boat, or I'm this person you described. I don't know who that was. I'm grabbing life because I'm significant. And then a spiritual awakening happens through, let's say, a near-death experience, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, the collective consciousness is far more important than little old me. And all of in one experience now, I'm insignificant. I'm a blip in time on this thing. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. For me, it's a cool discovery of the balance of all that stuff, how everything fits together. It's not like all about me, and it's not all about the rest of the world, like excluding me. It's like, oh, I'm unique and an individual, and I'm cool, and I want to build myself to be the best contributor to the world I want to see, for it to be the best. So I'd like to be the best version of me, and I'd like the world to be the best version of itself. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
both are like significant. Yeah, both can be the best at the same time. Yeah.
It's a really healthy way of thinking about it. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels it feels like there's, you know, something to do when I think about, oh, well, that's something to do in this lifetime. It's to care about the planet, it's to care about the animals, it's to try to understand what Jesus was saying. Um, and then, yeah, so if you do that long enough, it's like, oh, and part of you starts to think, like, am I supposed to do this? Like, was I born to take care of something? And I don't know. Yeah, that philosophy grew to be so strong, and I think maybe similar with yourself and you too, Jeremy. It's like, so now I think we all work in the field of helping people with acupuncture or coaching or like talk therapy. It's this. I think that all comes from this desire to see other people do well, so that they go off and do cool things that help other people do well, and it's just this growth evolution thing that,
Mm.
yeah, starts.
Yeah. It's helping the world exponentially.
Yeah, I like thinking about how I contribute to the world, and then like the ripple effect, and how our ecosystem builds and how it relates to the other parts of the world. And like, you just start thinking about that and imagining that, and it can just go off. That's cool.
Yeah. So butterfly flapping its wings, affects something way over in the desert.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sandstorm in the desert. So, and it's fun thinking about this out loud with you.
Yeah. And so from a physics perspective, I think that there's people that have done studies on what happens when people die, and they've been able to measure that there is an energy that leaves the body and that floats around the room, and they've recorded it. An anesthesiologist and a physicist, I believe, I can't remember their names now, but they did research where um, they actually filmed somebody's leaving their body.
Wow.
Um, yeah, they filmed it, but not with normal film, but uh, with it was the person died in a lead room. So in the lead room, it was lead because there was no to limit the amount of signals coming in, and so they could actually monitor the person's energy leaving their body.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah.
So somebody told me they said you should Google search how much your soul weighs, like the weight of it. And I Google searched it, and apparently the human soul weighs 21 grams. And someone started a study where it was like they started weighing people before and after death, and there was this common thread among many people. Like they were 21 grams lighter, always consistently throughout every person, didn't matter what their body shape or type was. And if you Google how much does the human soul weigh, it comes up with a little explanation. So if that's valid science or not, I don't know. You guys think about it, but I just heard that and it's a funny fact. But it's in line with what you're saying, Jeremy.
Yeah, I could see that it has a weight to it. Yeah, definitely. Although I think for me, it'd almost be like heavier. My body would be heavier when my spirit leaves. Because I think my spirit's keeping myself more buoyant.
Yeah, true. For sure. Maybe, yeah.
I'm keeping
Yeah.
everything lighter. Yeah, my soul's keeping everything lighter.
Well,
Doesn't that doesn't that ugly saying dead weight come from somewhere? Doesn't it like, dead weight mean just like heavier? Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
picture. Like
yeah,
it's dead weight.
yeah. There's no
Wow.
life force in them. Yeah.
but sort of going back to the question, I think one of the question, well, part of the question was how do you help people? Was that how can I be of help? And one of the things we said was like actually your presence. If you're present and you're here and you're in the moment and you're kind and you're compassionate and you're loving and you're making the effort to understand yourself and other people and to live in harmony with the world as best you can, well, that's already somebody who's really contributing in a powerfully positive way. And I guess another thing I would say is with it is like when you're going through something like that yourself, like you have all these kinds of feelings that you're maybe not aware of, or also you feel things that you think you're not meant to, you're not allowed to feel. And I think it's important to realize that it's a real proper emotional journey, and that whatever you're feeling, it's going to be valid, and and not to try and rush through any process and or feel like you've got to do something. Like grief is something that you have to do in a particular way. It's going to affect everybody in the way that it's going to affect you. And I think just to have as much compassion around that as possible, and realize it's these are one of the most difficult things that we face in life.
Yeah, it's true. Well,
I have a
also,
oh,
yeah, sorry, Mason, you go.
sorry to interrupt you. Maybe it's my time delay. I just my one bit of advice for the answer to that question too is if you can try to give yourself permission to just do one thing at a time in life. If it's like chaos you're navigating through or a storm, if you just allow yourself to do one thing at a time. I always picture like holding a huge bag of rocks or just holding like one rock. And obviously one rock is a much easier task than dragging a huge sack around. So if you can chip away at your tasks and do one thing at a time as best as you can, and instead of trying to do it all at once. Sometimes overwhelm comes from like trying to do too many things at once. It's a hard, awkward, weird skill to learn. You see these other things on fire, and you're like, oh, you know, I want to do them, but you just gotta like slowly do one thing at a time because sometimes that helps.
Yeah. Well, it's understanding, having a better understanding of the souls who have left, where they're at, and how is the journey unfolding. Do they have any words of wisdoms or wishes? That's, communicating with people that have passed away, and that requires space and quiet in order to, um, like you said, picking the one thing that if there's the one person that we're the one thing we're focusing on, it's we can make quiet for that communication.
Mm.
We can make quiet um, for that discussion. Maybe if we're to have a discussion with somebody that's passed away, then there are ways of having discussions. There's ways of having conversations with people that have passed away, depending on where they're at, right? Because they may have gone away. They may be far away. They may not be far away. So it depends on where they're at.
Oh,
I
well,
wonder what
Mike.
it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
No,
Go
Mason, you
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go on, jump in.
I just wonder what it's like if someone's like contacts you from the other side and you get like you feel them contacting you, but like where are they most of the time? Or is it like, yeah, like how do they like what are they doing? If like they're not just like sitting looking at us the whole time, like what's their awareness like? Are they checking in with us and then their soul goes and does something else? Like yeah, I just wonder. Yeah. And I know what you mean when you say like where are they at? It depends where they're at, Jeremy. So it's like, yeah, maybe your soul contract or who you are or what you've done on Earth determines uh some of the parameters you have when you're in the after space, whatever. So maybe
Yeah.
it, yeah, like what is it? Yeah, trying to like imagine something from just clues and build it in your mind without seeing it is really tricky.
Yeah.
It's but anyway,
It's like some people, they go into like a kind of slumber. They go into a kind of sleep, and they're just kind of floating in space, sleeping. And some people, they go to star systems, like Orion's belt, the Orion nebulas. They might be hanging out there. They might be flying around the sun. They might be uh, getting reborn as well. So they might have come back to uh, to the earth through a fetus as a baby growing. So that's some of the ways that I know that people get up to after they die.
yeah. I
And so
wonder if it's
depending
like
on,
yeah, depending on like yeah, like so when I picture the soul leaving the body, like if my
yeah,
soul stepped outside of my body, it would be like in this room right now. Like it
yeah,
would be have a location in time and space. But I
yeah,
also wonder if it's like um does it is there like a another dimension or when they say oh the veil lifted and I could see through the veil for a moment or for a psychedelic experience and it looked like another world just overlaid on this world like it's not separate. It's like behind a veil, even in this room, there's another
Yeah,
dimension or something, so like does the soul go between here and there, or does it like it's strange trying to picture its exact like location in time and space.
yeah. Well, it's the astral body is kind of like ultraviolet light. You know, if you've ever seen flowers or images, there's a lot of documentaries where they show like the ultraviolet world, where flower maybe looks a certain way, and then if you look at it through it with an ultraviolet lens, actually it looks like totally different.
Hmm.
And so the ultraviolet world is this kind of world that lives parallel. It's here, it's
Right.
ultraviolet. It's the wavelength that exists here, but we tend to not see it very much with our eyes because our eyes are
Okay,
not tuned
right.
into it. Yeah. And so
Okay, yeah,
like
right.
that, like the ultraviolet world, the astral world is also existing. And so there are ways of turning on a lamp or turning on a view of that other world that's parallel with ours. It's they're not mutually exclusive. They're intertwined. This one and the ultraviolet one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's super interesting. Yeah, this like wavelength. So we're like, yeah, and you and I are kind of existing in both worlds, even though we can't see that world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I know I watched a documentary one time, and the scientists were saying, yeah, we have like bioelectric magnetic energy, and we've got our aura, and we've got these different energies. And if she said in the documentary, if we could see them all, a human
Yeah.
being would be like a light show, fireworks. It would just be all this stuff happening. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, what is happening right here that we can't see?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was
We're
helpful
really
for me here.
radiant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was helpful.
Yeah. And so where somebody decides to go when they pass away, sometimes they decide, sometimes it's by default they go somewhere. That's why I don't know the ones where people disappear altogether. I don't know where they go. They go into a portal somewhere, or they poof, they disappear. And I'm not sure where they go.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who floats around, then we can be in contact with them. If it's somebody that is in a star system, like Orion's belt or Orion nebulas, we can still communicate with them if we want to.
I've got a message from Kay who's joined us on chat, and they're saying parallel timelines. Kay saying,
Yeah, parallel timelines. That goes into a different dimension of thinking. Um, but yeah, there can be parallel timelines.
It's just so weird to think about. Just the same kind of stuff happening, but a little bit different, sort of
Yeah,
somewhere else. Yeah. Oh, oh yeah, it's weird.
yeah. Well, what guys? What do you think? Should we stick with the usual um, shared meditation that we have? I can see
yeah.
we're up to an hour, and I don't. Do you think we've have we sort of replied to the questioner's points? Is there anything that we've sort of missed off that might be useful just to revisit before we go into meditation?
No, I think we covered most of the things. Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, I think
There's nothing I missed right at the front. The first 2 or 3 or 4 minutes I was here, like he just, I guess it was, yeah, sorry, it was in that WhatsApp. Sorry.
Yeah,
oh, right. Oh. Yeah, well, I hope that was of some use and of some benefit.
yeah,
Um, Meditation, shall we? Who would like
yeah.
who,
Mike, would
who'd
you
like
like
to
to run
lead?
one?
Um, I'm not feeling particularly inclined. I'll have to admit.
Okay,
Yeah. Um,
okay. I
I
can do
can.
Me or
one.
you, Jeremy? We could do it. You want to do it, or me or you?
Okay. Yeah. So make
Okay.
yourself comfy and notice your breath. Whatever you feel like, just for now. You can imagine that you have a broadcaster. So you've got your own TV station and you can put on records like music, or you can put on broadcasts. And so with this one, you are going to be a receiving tower. So like the TV has, the system has a station that broadcasts and a station that receives. And so on the broadcasting, if there's anybody out there that you love that has passed away, that you'd love to be in contact with them, then this is your chance to send a signal. Send a signal through your tower, a signal that goes up through your body, out your head, and out to the people that you want to be in contact with. And so part of this meditation is being able to receive, is to being able to receive in silence. And so when you're ready, think of a broadcast, something that you want to broadcast to somebody that you care about. And when you're ready, send them the message. Send them the message. Send them the message. And then wait and listen. Listen to the message. Listen to their reply. Now, this can be repeated over and over again, where up through your body, through your heart, you can send a message to somebody that you love that's on the other side, or somebody that you think about on the other side. And then once you send the message, then to turn around and listen to it as best you can. And listen to the message. Listen to the message. And it's okay to have space where you breathe and make space and notice on those subtle waves communication with you. Your loved ones will respond with whatever they need. And when you're ready, you can send a response. Send a response. Send a response. Up through your heart, through your third eye, sending a response. And then listening again, listening to their response, listening to their response, listening to their response. Making space and listening. And then giving thanks that you can do this anytime you wish, with anyone you wish, as you are a receiver and a broadcaster. And so bringing yourself back to your center and gently coming to the room, coming to the room, coming to the room, to your center. And in your own time, gently open your eyes. You have the ability anytime you want to speak with anybody on the other side. It doesn't guarantee that they'll be around, but if they are around, then you can also hear their message and respond, and respond, and respond. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Very relaxing. I feel very refreshed now. Actually, I needed that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we've been on for over an hour. So for the people who join us on YouTube, if you do want to come over and join a discussion group, you can do. If you go to www.coursesforspirit, FOR, for spirit, all one word, .ca for Canada, and go to the events page, you'll see a little join the Zoom link, and you just click on that, and you'll be in the waiting room, and we'll let you in. But so to everybody in YouTube land who's watching live, thank you. Hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday. That's goodbye from me.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye from me.
All right, for me, ciao. Have a good week. See you next one.